Okay, guys, the highlights from GreatStockPicks.com trading calls in our chat room on Wednesday. I'm going to start with some of the All-Stars calls because those guys were on fire. Those are guys that have been trading with us and have proven themselves, and we've given them a different colored font and a chime when they post something so everybody can see it. Shady, one of our All-Stars, called WMB today, 3561. Let's get an arrow, it's easier to see. Right about there, I think on that red candle or on the next green one. Stop a dime below 35.51. Did not get hit from 35.61. You can see that it went all the way to 36.70. That's $1.09 in our favor on less than a dime risk. Or, I'm sorry, on exactly a dime risk that didn't get stopped out. And I would also add that we teach our members whenever you're in something, okay, and you get this kind of shape in your favor, that's a great time to sell. Don't start getting a calculator and figuring out how rich you're going to be if this goes up another dollar. Okay, when it looks like this, look at that. When you're getting that shape in your favor, shouldn't do anything but fill out an order form to sell. You don't have to sell it all, but you always should sell some into that kind of shape. And look at that. Lo and behold, that ended up being the high of the day. Great call by Shady. While I'm on Shady, I will point out another one he called, 3960 CTL. So that would have been right somewhere in here. And the stop, 7 cents below, 39.53. Let's get my little drawing tool going one more time. So the stop came within a penny of getting hit. Now, whoops, I'm not sure. It was right below here. Now, I'm not sure if he called it called it in this area or after the fact. I didn't catch this trade. He might have called it after it had already bottomed and on the way back up. I apologize for not knowing. Any way you slice it, he called it at 39.60. Stop at 39.53. Did not get hit. And from 39.60 went to 40.17. So on 7 cents risk, went up 57 cents. Another great call by Shady. Stephen B., one of our All-Stars, called URI on this bounce at 32.20. Worst case stop 32. So 20 cents risk. And you can see from his entry here, 32.20 was basically right there on that green candle. It went pretty quickly to 32.76. So a 55-cent move in our favor. Called it 32.21, sorry, on 20 cents risk. And a pretty nice move there. Wayne, one of our All-Stars, was watching Best Buy. Gapped up on, M&A, rumors, and all that stuff, but he was just waiting for the first break of a previous 5-minute candles high for an entry. Basically, he had the gap up and then a flag, and Wayne called it long right there. And a pretty nice entry, 17.42, and you see ultimately went up almost to 17.90. Excellent call by Wayne as well. And the only one I can really brag about today was GM. GM, I'll pan out a little bit, was very strong yesterday, so I wanted it back on watch today. And my entry idea, was just basically GM had this tight, had this tight base going here below yesterday's high. Whenever you have a strong day and then you base below that previous day's high, you have what I call a potential catalyst to the left, okay? You break this base, so my entry was a base break, which was right there on that green candle, and my stop was below the base, okay, which is right down here. And I'll give you the numbers in just a second. But whenever you have that, a strong move the previous day, tight base, you break that base, you also have the previous day's high as a potential catalyst where people will buy when they see it breaking the previous day's high, okay? So my entry idea, 23.89 right there. Stop had to go below that base, had to give it some wiggle room there. And so the stop was 13 cents below, and from 23.89 you can see that it did bust through yesterday's high and just kept going. And I actually sold my final third and alerted the chat room right there on that red candle. So almost picked the high of the day clean on that final third. So GM went from 23.89 to 24.60, 71 cent move on 13 cents risk. A couple others to show you. CBS, I pointed out when it looked like this as what we call a PFPD, or potential final push down. This is where the shape and volume that we look for a possible turn, usually using 5-minute candles. I won't put this on the results page because I didn't give an exact trigger and stop, but our longtime members certainly know how to play this, and I know that because I got several thank yous. If you just took this on the first break of a previous 5-minute candles high here, which is kind of how we teach PFPD entries, or at least one form of them, would have been about 34.21 and a stop at 34.13. And look at that. From 34.21, it almost went to 35. Okay, so that's the reason I got a thank you from several members. This would have been the entry right there as a PFPD, potential final push down, and that would have been the stop. And look at that move. So I was right in identifying it, but I didn't give a crystal clear trigger and stop. So again, it won't be on the results page, but man, that's a great bounce right there. A couple other things I want to point out from today. Netflix, NF, let me try that again, NFLX. Netflix was right out of the gate this morning, okay? Big volume. Thought we had a short squeeze going. Now, I missed the move. I didn't want to chase it. So once I saw it doing this and chopping sideways, I called it a couple times. The first one didn't work. The second one did. The second one, the entry idea was 60.65, which basically was probably right about here, somewhere right about there, and the stop was at 60.10. Yes, that's a little bit wide for me, but if I put a line here, 60.10, there's the entry, there's the stop, you can see that this worked. Okay, there's the trigger. It chopped around for a while, gave a nice initial move, came back down, but held the stop, and then look at that close. So this could be multi-day for those that are still in it. I'm not going to tell you how I manage the trade because I'm embarrassed, but it all breaks down to position size. If your position size is correct, such that if you're okay with the stop getting hit and it won't ruin your day, you've got to let the stop work. Sometimes I take these bigger than I should because I'm a day trader and I scalp some, but if I'd have taken this one smaller and said, you know what, I'm going to let my stop work, this closed up a couple bucks from my entry on 50 cents risk. So Netflix, pretty impressive. And I can't end the video without talking about SRPT. Huge miss for me here. I did give one what I deem a really, really good entry idea, and I'll share it with you in just a minute. But after the gap up, I mean, how nice would this... I'll tell you what I did. I dismissed it when I saw the gap up from 15 to over 30, okay? I said, you know, I'm not going to mess with that one today. It's probably going to just grind lower all day after the gap up. And I couldn't have been much more wrong, could I? Matter of fact, if you look at the daily now, you say, wow, that was a great, had to give some good intraday trades. And it really did after the gap up. It just kind of based, right, but held above 30. And once it broke this little base here, it was off to the races. And even if you took the high of daybreak, it went up like unbelievably from there. Now, I will tell you the one entry idea I gave all day after missing what in effect was, you know, from the 30 area to 4, after missing a $13 move. And this is a pretty good lesson right here. Oftentimes when you have a crazy strong stock, okay, like SRPT after this move, you don't ever feel right buying it after a $13 move. I get that, and I didn't either, okay? But oftentimes, and we teach our members this and we show examples over and over again, you get what I call a 520 kiss. You have a crazy strong stock, and then as some of the early longs take profits and this thing grinds lower, you get one kiss or one touch of the 5-minute candle 20 period moving average. And so I had this on projector and said, hey, you're getting down there. And at this point, the 520 was around 37.20, and look what happens. It basically kissed it right here. And that was the low of the day after the crazy move. Look at that. So even if you took it at the 520 kiss, anywhere around that, actually 37.30, where it touched it, okay, you ended up almost, let's just round that up to 38, and you closed at 45, right? You're still up $7 a share at the close. Unbelievable. So there's a little, I guess, chart lesson, if you will, on a crazy strong stock. Keep your eyes on that, keep that 20 period moving average 5-minute candle. I use the exponential. Oftentimes you'll get that one touch. I did alert the room to it. And honestly, I don't know if anybody took it, and I didn't even take it. I can't get myself to buy a stock after a move like that. And look at that. This could be multi-day, but there was a good entry idea. Again, I'm not bragging because I didn't take it, but the idea certainly panned out well. That was the afternoon low of the day after the crazy move. So anyway, I'm sure I'm leaving something out from the day, but that's what I have for the video. I'm going to quit babbling because I've already talked for 10 minutes. So have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.